I'm a monkey. I'm a dirty, filthy monkey that has travelled all the way from the UK to the great lands of New Zealand to accomplish something incredible. Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree is a DLC that's been anticipated by a lot of people, especially me, because I love Souls games and I love Elden Ring itself. It's my favorite game of all time, so giving me some more content, some new things to play with, is like giving a heroin addict a new needle. Like, he cannot wait to jump back on that shit with something new and fresh. Now, a very popular thing to do in the game amongst streamers and YouTubers alike is to stream the game until you beat it. And the two biggest examples of this are cenat and Ludwig for doing this form of content. And I looked at this and I thought, I kind of want to put my hand in the cookie jar, but for one, I don't really like sleeping in front of stream. I think that's a little bit weird for myself personally. But I also wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to be different from the rest and kind of give someone a new form of content. So I decided to challenge myself. Now, my fun twist on it isn't to play the game until I beat it and sleep on stream. That's not what I want to do. I probably find it very uncomfortable to sleep on stream because I tend to move a lot and whatever, and I don't want to fucking moon the camera while I'm sleeping. So I thought, what's a better way? What's a different way of doing this to where it can be kind of interesting? So I thought, why don't I stream the game until I beat it, but I don't go to sleep? Now, you're probably thinking, you know what? That is kind of interesting. On my hand, it was fucking torture. At one point, I think I was fighting Radahn. I think I even say it on stream. I was fighting Radahn, and the music just seemed to, like, blur all around me. Like, I couldn't tell the orchestra. I couldn't tell the instruments that were playing. I genuinely didn't know what was coming in and out of my ear. And if you could go back to Twitch, it's not on YouTube because YouTube doesn't allow me to post videos over 34 hours long, and I don't have the video on me at the moment. But if you go on Twitch and if you can find the 22nd hour mark, between the 20th hour and the 22nd hour mark, you just see I'm dying. And I think at one point in the Radahn fight, I literally just start phasing out. Like, everything goes blurry in my eyes and I don't even know what's happening on screen. Now, before I show you the big finale, the finale of me beating Radahn after being awake for so long, let me address the elephant in the room here. I did not sleep for 34 hours. So a lot of the bosses and stuff that I fought at the time seemed impossible. And there was only a handful of videos online where I could see people actually fighting Radahn. So my extremely tired and fatigued brain thought that Radahn was impossible unless you had a summons on you, or unless you had a Blasphemous Blade build, because that'll just continuously heal you as you fight him. But at the time, I thought it was impossible. So I decided to whip out a Mimic tier. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. You're either going to think, hey, a win's a win, you beat the game, whatever. The other hand of you will be thinking, you haven't beaten the game. You're using a summons. You're a massive pussy. You don't actually play Souls games. You didn't beat the game. You have to go back and beat the game without any summons at all. To my defense, I was tired. I didn't have 34 hours of sleep. Not only that, a lot of the people, in fact, every person I've seen beat Radahn or close to beat Radahn has used a Great Rune. I had no Great Runes available to me to use. Not only that, it seems like everyone else is much higher level than me, and that's kind of because I didn't go and level myself up before this DLC. The whole of From Software, Miyazaki himself said that your level has nothing to do with the DLC. Although looking at it, it kind of does, especially Vigor, Endurance, and FP, because those don't seem to matter in the DLC whatsoever. So yes, I am very, very sad that I used summons. I've never used summons on any Souls game ever. I've beaten every boss fully by myself, but for Radahn and one other boss, I did actually use summons, but that's the only way I was going to beat them in the state that I was in. Plus, there were other parts of me that were weaker than a lot of these other people's builds that have actually beaten Radahn. Anyway, let me just show you the full fight of me beating Radahn, or if you can't be bothered, I'll put a timestamp somewhere here so you could just go to the last, like, 10 seconds. I get to sleep. Yep, there you go. Now you can kind of see that I was excited and defeated all at the same time, because there was a part of me that really just wanted to jump around, scream, just let it all out. But on the other hand, I was so tired and so fatigued that I feel like the only celebration I could have done was kind of like slump on my chair and just be like, it's done. It's actually done. And it's so weird because the whole 34 hours really seemed to have gone super quick. I remember being around the 26-hour mark and I was like, oh my God, it actually doesn't feel like I've been awake for 26 hours. And I was really, really enjoying myself with the game. I think the DLC is incredible. I think the DLC is that right level of difficulty to where if you compare it to the first game and this game and you kind of make like a mean of how difficult the game is, it kind of now stacks up to all the other Souls games because everyone kind of wanted to point the finger at Elden Ring and say, hey, you're the easier out of the whole lot of games. But now with this DLC coming out, it really raises the bar of Elden Ring like an extra 3 or 4 degrees. In fact, if you were to mix every single one of the Souls games all together, I don't think it still would be as difficult as this DLC. Every boss has so much health, so chunky, they're so aggressive, and they're so quick. They're incredibly, incredibly quick. But yeah, it's an incredible DLC. Anyone who had any reservations as to paying £40, dollars, or however much it was for you guys in wherever part of the world you're in, who was like, oh, a DLC can't be worth that. It is 100% worth it. And the 34 hours I played wasn't just going through the bosses, the main game, and beating the game as quick as I can. I did fight a lot of side bosses, a lot of side main bosses. I fought Mesmer. No, Mesmer, in fact, is a main boss. You have to get to him to get to Radahn. But I fought Bailey. Bailey's one of the side bosses. I fought the Hog Rider boss. I fought a skeleton on a horse boss. I fought a lot of bosses outside of just the main area. So it wasn't just finishing the game main story-wise. Like, I unlocked everywhere in the map. I got most of Marika's cenat things. I fought majority of the bosses. The only ones I can think of that I've missed is the Frenzied Flame, there's a Finger boss, and someone else. So I've only maybe missed like 2 or 3 unique bosses. Other than that, I've pretty much finished majority of the game in 34 hours without any sleep. And I think, to me, it is one of the greatest accomplishments I've ever done in my life. Anyway, yes, Shadow of the Erdtree, incredible DLC. I had a lot of fun doing it, and I don't know if I'll ever do something like that again. The torture was incredible. And shout out to Monster, because I had 2 Monster cans, and they really, really kept me up. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later.